welcome to the Late Night Snacking Podcast.
We're your hosts, Devin and Anita. And this is our weekly podcast where we grab a blanket and some snacks and talk about all things relationships, growing pains, and navigating through, honestly, life itself.
We hope our experiences encourage others to grow to become the best versions of themselves, and for their relationships. Grab a snack and let's go! What is up, snackers?
What's up, good people?
Woo!
Here we are.
Welcome back to the pod.
The Late Night Snacking Podcast.
The what?
The most honest podcast. The most open podcast. And the most wholesome podcast in the world.
Welcome back to the pod, y'all. So nice to have y'all back here for another Wednesday night with the LNS crew. Last week we did the translation episode, so that was kind of a fun one. To be transparent, we're getting, I was about to say backlash like we went viral or something. We did not go viral, but not yet. But we have been receiving a couple comments here and there just about what was said in the one video where I was talking about, what did you ask me? It was something, where it was like nothing, never mind, or something like that. So we got some good feedback in terms of like how some people felt like, well, sometimes we just don't want to say anything else, so we just say never mind because we don't feel like repeating ourselves, or I shouldn't have to repeat myself. Sometimes I just don't have anything else to say, which I did say that. Obviously, that part wasn't clipped. We only clipped a little bit for the TikTok, but I did say that sometimes it is just like I have nothing else left to say, so I just cut it off. But I think what wasn't made clear in the clip is they thought that that's what I mean by that. And if you actually watch the entire episode, so if anybody's here from TikTok, please go back and watch the actual entire episode, because the whole premise of it was like to just have like a fun, kind of funny translation of like just general terms. Yeah. Some people can actually resonate to what I said. I had some people actually say like, this is spot on, this is what I do, or whatever, which I knew that was going to be the case. So don't be lying, y'all. Sometimes that is it. But y'all have to remember that like some of our episodes don't have notes and stuff to go along with it. So a lot of them are just off the cuff. Yeah. So he asked me something and it was literally the first thing that came to mind. I didn't have an answer written down and ready to go for that. So just keep in mind, give us some grace, because I definitely had a few people. One girl was like, she's speaking for herself on this one. I was like, damn, okay, relax. But yeah, I mean, that just comes with putting content online. People are always going to have something to say, but just wanted to clear that up for those who didn't watch the full episode. There was more to that response than what was clipped. So that goes for anything on the internet in general. Sometimes you just don't have the full context, so don't make assumptions about things. But yeah, I hope that encourages you to go watch the full episode from last week. I enjoyed it. I thought that was a fun topic.
Very educational.
Very educational. Sometimes people really mean those things. Sometimes it doesn't resonate with anybody, and that's cool. So, yeah. Tonight, so we are actually recording on Monday. It's actually 8 o'clock now. So hopefully by this time you've watched our mini vlog that we put up. We had a fun date day in Charlotte, and I surprised Devin with like a couple date ideas. I won't tell you what those are, so go to the video and go find out what we did that day. But we had a fun day. We love doing mini vlogs for y'all. I know they're like really short. It's just we don't record vlogs over unless it was like our engagement vlog or something that's being vlogged over like a course of a few days. Most of the time we're recording on like a 1 day base. So like it's gonna be short. So sorry that we're only putting out like 10-minute long vlogs, but like it is what it is.
Oh. And
our Alexa just went off upstairs.
we will be introducing live podcasts via YouTube.
Yes. So actually, let's get into that. So yes, shameless plug, go watch the vlog that we just put up. Onto YouTube live stuff. We had a couple people ask us, because I know we did mention like a couple podcasts ago that we were looking to do like a live show somewhere, that we wanted to do it in a venue. Transparently, y'all, with everything that we have going on and everything we're trying to juggle and stuff,
Time just doesn't allow it.
it's not allowing us. So that might not even be something that we can introduce until like late summer, after summer type thing. There's just too much going on. But we did have somebody ask if we could do like a live YouTube instead, which I actually really like that idea. We were thinking maybe next week, but we also have some friends coming into town, so I don't know if next week's the best time, so maybe the week after. But just know within the next couple episodes, we probably are going to do a live. So
Be on the
stay tuned
lookout for that.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. I think that's going to be really fun. That'll give y'all an opportunity to actually like talk with us.
And engage with us.
Yeah.
Live.
No excuses. No comment down below. You can comment while we're talking about whatever the topic is that night. And we can have fun dialogue there. So I'm excited for that. Yeah. What's been going on in our world? Let's catch them up. Anything new from last week?
Not a whole lot. Versus other than a week closer to getting our dog.
So we are exactly 2 weeks from today, which also means exactly 2 weeks from today is my birthday. I'm so excited. But we are getting Hendrix in 2 weeks. It feels especially real now because we've like all his stuff has started to come in. We set up like his playpen, his crate, like all his little like.
We bought food the other day.
Yeah, we bought his food, like his.
Not even here yet, but he got food though.
He'll be ready, like treats, collar, leash. Like he is very much. He's gonna be spoiled. I already know. We're gonna train him, of course, but like he will be very loved and well taken care of in this household.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's. I feel like there's been more stuff, but maybe I don't know. I'm just forgetting.
I honestly can't think. Other than the stuff that we mentioned last week.
Devin's like, nothing has changed.
Nothing.
And what's wild is like usually after the podcast is when I remember like, oh, I should have mentioned this, or oh, we did this, and yeah. So
Tis is it
for now. There's definitely stuff that has happened or more. Well, we've been wedding planning more. Oh, we tried a new ice cream place in Pineville. If for our Charlotte listeners, do not sleep on Pineville. If you're anywhere near the Pineville area, go downtown because that's like a little poppin' spot. Like there's a park there if you want to like go walk around, even if you want to have like a little picnic, if you want to rent it out for something. Like there's
it's a cool little coffee shop over there.
Yeah, coffee shop.
It's a brewery down there.
Breweries. There's like a little wine place with like pizza and stuff like that. It's a really like it's very small, but it's like a happening little block going on there. So yeah, definitely go check out Pineville. We went to the coffee shop and we got some breakfast and did some wedding planning stuff. Yeah, which we're gonna talk on some wedding stuff tonight, actually. But before,
surprise,
surprise. Before we do any of that, shall we share what we're snacking on? Okay, you first.
You guys know me. I try to take the healthy route. So I got grapes.
You be making me look so bad, dude. Maybe I just need to start having the same snacks as you. So he's got some grapes. I didn't forget my snack this time, y'all. Surprise, surprise. Sweet and salty nut. Peanut, dark chocolate chunk, and almond. It's all reliable at this point. Like, I only buy maybe like 3 or 4 snacks during my grocery shopping, which I feel like is a shame considering our podcast is literally about snacking at night. Mm-hmm. And our snacks are either like really lame or literally the same thing over and over again. So I don't know. I'm kind of inspired. Maybe next grocery trip, I'll get some wild shit so we can try it for them.
Or maybe you guys can give us some suggestions on snacks about make the whole thing.
Engage.
We know y'all don't like to do that, so let's not ask too much. Let's not ask for too much, you know.
We gotta be slandered by random people on TikTok to get engagement on the podcast.
Just about.
But yes, comment down below, text us, whatever it may be. Let us know some snack things we can try. I'm open to all things. Cool. All right, I think we've lollygagged long enough. Sorry, y'all. My phone is like connecting and disconnecting from the Echo Dot upstairs, so it keeps talking, and I'm like, what is that?
AI.
No, seriously. Oh, speaking of that, before we hop into the topic, have y'all seen, well, I'll ask you since you're here, have you seen this new AI thing on Snapchat?
Yes, they tried to have a conversation with me the other day, but I wasn't going for it.
I responded to mine.
Of course you did.
I just want to see, like, what is this? I don't understand. I'm thinking, like, it does actually have a conversation with you.
Yeah, it responds back to literally anything you want to talk about.
It's weird. It's really weird. I said something, and then I think I was just like, hi, how are you? Or something like that. And it was like, great, how are you? Anything new and exciting going on in your life? And I was like, what the hell?
See, I want you to open up.
Yes, like that's... I just left it on red. I thought it was a little too
They're
creepy.
moving into the last phase, building personalities.
Whew.
Which means identity theft.
It's getting really wild out here. Be careful, but also I'm very curious if any of you have had conversations with the AI and it said some wild shit. Let me know. I'm curious. But okay, sorry, you said AI and it made me think of that because I thought that was insane. But okay, looping it back. So tonight, or le topic, isn't really a le topic. It's more of just like a conversation
about our wedding journey.
About our wedding planning journey thus far, what we've been learning about like ourselves from each other, just kind of just our thoughts so far on this entire process. If you've wedding planned before, now I want to be clear because this isn't like, oh, we learned how expensive things are. It's not, we're not talking about that. We're talking about like actual internal things that we've been seeing in ourselves, things that we've been seeing in each other and stuff like that. Just like a real conversation about like how things are kind of different from like when we first got engaged to now. So, hopefully if you've wedding planned, maybe you can like resonate with some of this. If you are wedding planning right now, which I know some of you are, this will resonate with you. And even if you are just dating, don't have a partner or whatever, but you still tune into us, maybe it'll give you some insight on like who we are as people and how we think and stuff like that. So I think anybody can take something away from this kind of conversation. So yeah. So I don't know why I had like a hiccup there. I was trying to figure out how I wanted to open it, but I think kind of how we came on the topic, because I brought it to you earlier today. I was listening to a podcast, and the hosts were talking about having an identity crisis. And one of them was saying, like, she feels like she's having a little bit of identity. Why can't I say that? A little bit of an identity crisis, because she's wedding planning. She's getting married later this year. And she just feels like she's a completely different person now. She feels like she's having to step into a different role, like changing last names, all this stuff. And I just thought about how that's not really talked about a lot, is like you really do change as people and you change mindsets and you have to start thinking about other things when you're about to get married. So that's kind of what sparked the topic. I brought it up to you. I figured you also maybe had some things that you're learning in this process too. So I just wanted to chat.
Okay.
So who wants to take the floor?
I will.
Okay, great, because I really want to take a bite of this.
So, wedding planning. So far, for myself, I don't know, maybe to me, it just feels like we have a very long time until the wedding, like we have a year. But do not mistake that as me just like not caring or we can just do it later type thing. I mean, it's not like that. It's just, I guess it doesn't, I don't know, to me it doesn't really get surreal until like, I don't know, I guess like the year of, or if we're like inching closer, maybe 6 months out or something like that, then like it kind of sets in. I've learned that patience isn't enough in this. It's just not. It does require a lot of time. I mean, it's your day. It's literally an entire day about you and your partner.
And
so
like your union, yeah.
It's it does take a toll on me, just because like I'm very laxed. I'm a very lax person. I just like that.
Yeah.
You know, I've stressed my whole life to the point to where like I don't care to be like that anymore. So I'm very laxed, whereas she is not. She's very busy
all the time.
So though we do have a year until the wedding, like she treats it as if it's in 10 days.
Have to.
So like, if we're going to be honest, like there are some times where like I want to just like kind of hang out with her like on the couch and just like watch a movie or something, but because she is so wrapped in like wedding stuff or if not the wedding stuff, then we're doing like podcast stuff, so it doesn't really open up a lot of time for that. But I have to be okay with that, just for the simple fact that she's being herself, so it's not like she's like acting different. But I have to be okay with that, because like she's an organizer.
Yeah.
It's part of the reason why like I'm dating her, or you know, getting engaged to her, or getting married to her. Like that's kind of part of the point, is just because like I don't have that.
It adds balance.
Yeah, like I don't have that. Well, I'm not gonna say I don't have it. It's just I don't flex that a lot of like organization. Like that's her thing. It's being organized, being on time and stuff like that. Like I said, I am very laxed, so by default, it's gonna seem like, oh well, he's not timely, or he just doesn't care, or what, like it's gonna seem like that, just because like I move at such a much slower pace than most people.
Yeah.
It's just, it makes me feel better. I probably should have some urgency about myself, and which I do with some things. It's just like with this, we have the colors, but haven't went to go try on tux and stuff yet. Like,
I mean, you have
just because I have time for that.
You have time. I think so. if I may.
Yeah.
We've had a conversation about whatchamacallit, like, because he has brought this up, as in, like, sometimes I just don't want to talk about podcasts and wedding things, because those are the two major things.
Literally, that's all we talk about.
That is our life right now, is like this, and then the days we're not doing this, it's like wedding stuff. And not all of it is wedding. It's like, so we have an engagement party coming up in a couple months, and like a lot of our time has been like getting stuff ready for that, and like making sure we have information for our bridesmaids and groomsmen and stuff like that. Sorry. Just making sure we have things organized for that. So it is like a lot of our conversations do have to do with that. And I will say we have had a conversation to where you're like, hey, sometimes I just don't want to talk about that shit. And like, just how he said, he was like, I have to be okay with like, this is just how she is and this is how he's doing things. Like, I also have to like hear what he is saying. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have needs too. So like, if you're like, hey, like sometimes I just don't want to talk about that shit. Like, I have to be okay with like leaving it at the door, even though I'm literally having like anxiety thinking about how we're not done with A, B, C, and D. Like, you are like, you still come first at the end of the day. And like, if you're asking for my time, then like, I'm going to give it to you because like you're requesting it. But I think it's nice that you can feel like you have time for things. It's just, I can't stress this enough that things are so much different for the bride. Like, and I think that's why it gets misconstrued that like, oh, it's the bride's day. It's really not. But the things that the bride has to do is just so much more than the groom. Like, having hair and makeup, like, y'all don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And like doing like bridals and like all this extra stuff that like brides and bridesmaids have to do, like is so you're kind of lucky that you feel like we have time. On this end of the party, we don't. Like, I will say right now, I feel like we're on good pace, but like a lot of it has to do with like, you have to book things early because things are already booked. Like, people are already booking these types of people a year in advance. So like, I don't want to miss out on booking something because somebody has our date. Like, it's only one day in the entire year. There's going to be 30,000 other couples also getting married on April 27th. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like, I know you don't think that way, but like me as like type A, I'm like, we have to get this done because like, I don't want to lose out on something, or I don't want to lose out on good pricing and things like that. But that also has to do with like me being the communicator with these things, which is why your help is so imperative with like input, thoughts, because I'm the one that's having to go back and forth with these vendors and stuff like that. So like, I understand, like, sometimes you just don't want to be doing that, but like, neither do I. But like, somebody has to, you know what I mean? So that's the part where it's like difficult. And like, don't hear what I'm not saying. Like, I'm not saying that I have an issue with taking on that role, because I'm just like that. I'm type A. I want to be in charge of everything. Like, I am like that. So I'm not saying I have an issue with that. I'm just saying like, sometimes you got to give me a little grace with that, because like, it is time consuming and it is a lot. But the grace also goes to you, is like, sometimes we just need to like put that aside just for both of our mentals. Which I understand. So it's definitely like a two-way street there.
And like, don't get me wrong, like, it's not like I'm not enjoying this process. It's just the way I look at it is like, if someone was to like ask me, like, I guess like the day before like our wedding, like, oh, like, how was your time being engaged? Like, I really wouldn't have much to give them other than the fact that we literally just worked the entire time. Like, not just on podcast stuff, but just like wedding stuff, and then like real work. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it just kind of feels like we haven't had like a time to really enjoy being engaged. Like,
And that
because literally after the engagement, literally the next week, homegirl's making phone calls already, like trying to get stuff done. And like I said, like it's not a bad thing. It's actually a smart thing. It's very smart, like because she's making sure that we're able to lock in like dates for the venue and stuff like that. So these are very important things because, like you said, like we're not the only people getting married that day.
Yeah.
There are other people who want to get married that day too.
Yeah.
In the same place.
Yeah.
At the same venue.
The day, the day that we booked our venue, we were in competition with another couple, and we had to put our deposit down that day to secure it, or else we would have just had to leave it up to chance that like they wouldn't get it.
And
when
we were
they
supposed
expressed interest in it.
Yeah, and we were supposed to go see like one more venue, but we pretty much had our minds set on the one that we picked.
Yeah.
So there was no need in, oh, well, I want you to see this one first. Like, no,
Yeah.
I was just like, let's just go ahead and lock it in now, because I feel like if we wait and we come back to try to seal for the day that we got, we're not going to be able to get it, and then we're going to be mad.
Yeah.
So it was just best to go ahead and lock it in.
Yeah, I think too, like how you were kind of saying about like if somebody were to ask you like, oh, how was the engagement process? I think a lot of couples can speak to this, that like wedding planning just in general is just not enjoyable. It's not, like, especially for somebody like Devin who doesn't like to do things like this, like call people and organize things and pick dates and make sure you're on top of payments and stuff like that. Like, that's more my side of the brain, and like he doesn't really like doing that type of stuff. So I could see for you to where it's like, this sucks. And don't get me wrong, like I'm tired, like I think it sucks too, but like it's not the most fun. But I think that's where like things like bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, engagement parties, like wedding showers, bridal showers, like things like that, like those are the parts that make it worthwhile, because then you can like lean on your people and like actually enjoy what this whole thing is about. Like, unfortunately, I'm not thinking of, oh, I can't wait to marry Devin when I'm like calling the caterer, calling the cake people. Like, that's the last thing I'm thinking of. I'm like, what is your price? Can we lock it in on this day? When do I need to make the payments? Yada, yada, yada. Like, when are we good to go? So, like, you're not thinking of wedding day when you're, like, trying to do all this stuff. But that's why, like, when your friends want to, like, shower you and, like, throw you parties and stuff like that, like, that's where you really lean into, like,
the fun part.
Oh, my God, we are getting married. Yeah, like, you remember it. So that's why I wanted to have one in the first place, because I was like, because he had said it. He was like, I just feel like we really haven't enjoyed the fact that we're getting married. And I 100% agree. Like, we have not. We haven't had, besides that day that, like, we got to spend with, like, the, you know, fam and all that good stuff in Asheville, and then coming back and, like, having Cicely and Demetria here and stuff like that. Other than that, like, very day and day after, haven't done anything. So like the fact that we're even having an engagement party where like our friends and family get to come together and like just celebrate us, and like we get to celebrate us and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't even have words to like express how excited I am for that, because like we have not had that moment. But kind of piggybacking off of that, something that I've learned is that like your opinion in all of this, as much as you sometimes don't really want to talk about it or don't really care as much as far as like details and things, I'm not saying you don't care. And I think this sometimes men come off as like they don't care, and it's not that y'all don't, it's just that we are just way more invested into like every detail of the day versus you guys. And it's not that you don't care, you're just, it's just not your strong suit. Like you don't care where the little flower on table 17 goes, you know what I mean? But like me, I'm like drawing it on like a piece of paper, like try to make sure. So it's totally different. It's just like priorities are at different places. But like, no matter what that looks like your opinion on the day still matters. And like, I have to keep telling myself that is like, I tend to very much like take charge of things and like just do it my way because like I know me, I trust myself, I know it's gonna look good, but like I get into like a tunnel vision of that to where like I'm not listening to input from anywhere. Like it's very much like we doing it my way, it's gonna be good, boom, let's go. But like it is also your day.
Yeah.
So something that I've had to kind of like tell myself is like you need to pull back a little bit and like include you. So let me ask you this. I don't know if it's annoying to you that like I ask you for little things. Like, do you appreciate that? Or are you still kind of like, like you can do your thing on that? Like coming from a groom.
No, I do appreciate it, like, because it matters.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like everybody gets this notion that like the wedding day is all about the bride or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the one to tell you this is very much my day as well.
Yeah.
Like I am looking forward to this as well.
Be.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I do care how this turns out. I do care how it looks. I do care what my groomsmen look like. I do care what her bridesmaids look like. Like,
yeah.
I do care about a lot of this stuff. It's just like, I guess I don't really know my role in like the planning part of this. Like, I get it. Like, you know, you ask for a lot of my input on stuff and you ask for my opinion and a lot of stuff like, oh, what do you think of this? Or, you know, should we do this? Should we not do this? Should we add this? Should we not add this? Like, and I appreciate that because it does give me some type of like direction. And that's for me to figure out is my role here. Like, see where she's lacking and just fill in there.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like how I'm looking at it because she, you know, she knows how she wants everything. She knows what she wants to do or whatever. Like, I trust her too. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I know it's going to look good, whatever she decides. That's why, like, I just let her do her, you know what I mean, in this department because as far as like decorations and stuff like that and like how you want things placed, I know that about her. And so I trust it. I know it's not going to, because her thing is like, it's not going to look like wonky or look crazy. She's not going to allow it to look like that.
Yeah.
She'll ask me, does something look good or look bad before she'll just make a decision.
Right. Yeah.
Which is cool. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate that. But I guess amongst like, like my side of the wedding party, like, it's pretty much just like, hey, bachelor party stuff. Okay, we got that.
Yeah.
All right, bet. We about to go look at tux. I need everybody here at this time. We're going to try them on. It's just like, at least I would want to believe that with my friends. Like, I can just say like, hey, let's try to meet here on this date to do this. And it kind of just happens. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. Outside of that, I think that's really what it is. It's just like, I don't really, I guess, like, know exactly what my role is, but that's for, like I said, that's for me to figure out, in which I will. So it would make things so much easier, or I guess this process would be like, I guess, more enjoyable for me if this was the only thing that we could do. Like, I didn't have to like, you know, we didn't have to like worry about podcast stuff so much or worry about work so much, or just like other different, like all this other stuff that we have going on. Yeah. Trying to do a live podcast, working with music, regular podcasts. It's like, if we could just like solely lock in on the wedding journey and the like planning the engagement and stuff, like, I'll be golden. But it's just the fact of like having all this stuff like hanging over me is just, I don't know, it gets kind of overwhelming sometimes. Yeah. To the point to where like I just don't want to be bothered with anything. Yeah.
It's funny that you say that. I really like love that we're having this conversation because I'm like, I feel like I'm learning more about where your head's at in all of this in a good way. Cause like, it's crazy how we're experiencing like two totally different things. Like, like exact opposites. Because you're saying like, it would be better if this is kind of like the only thing we were doing. And I'm like the exact opposite. Like, if this was the only thing we were doing, the way I would like anally focus on it and like every little detail, like I would take so long to make decisions. Like, I'm very much an overthinker. So if you give me too much time, I'm going to use up the entire time. Like, I was the same way in school, like test taking and all that stuff. If you give me an hour and a half for a test, I'm going to be the last person in there. If you give me 30 minutes for a test, I'm going to be trying to go fast. So I'm still probably going to be the last person in there. Like, I'm going to use up all the time because any of that extra time, I'm overthinking. So, like, I'm really glad that this isn't the only thing that's going on in our lives, because I would be absolutely, like, feral.
Yeah.
Like, like, all that Bridezilla shit, like, I would be on that type of time because it would just be too much if it was the only thing that I was focused on. So I kind of like, like, I don't do things for the wedding every day. I would say maybe once a week I'm looking at something for wedding stuff. I don't know if it seems like that to you, but like,
Bro, it seems like every day.
Which is wild.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, it seems like every day.
Really, like, I don't even feel like I'll talk to you about engagement party stuff, but as far as like wedding things, like maybe once or twice a week I'm doing something for it. Like, when we had went to the coffee shop the other day, that was those emails about all of those things, like cake, photography, DJ, those had been sitting in my email for almost a month and I didn't respond to them. So like, I'm really not like every day on top of it. I don't know why it seems like that to you, but like,
I don't know.
To me, it's like, in my head, it's not consuming every day of my life, which I like. And I feel like if it was the only thing we were doing, it would feel like it would be like consuming my life.
Yeah.
In my head, I have a healthy balance between like everything that I'm doing right now. I don't know if it seems that way to you, but yeah. What else? Oh, I have one.
What?
Changing your last name
Oh.
is something y'all don't have to worry about. But it's a big thing for women to change their last name. I don't know how to describe it. Like, the podcast that I was listening to this morning, I think she did a good job of describing it. Like, she was just saying, like, it just depends on the relationship that you have, like, with your dad and stuff like that. Like, you just really hold on to, like, your last name and stuff like that. So it almost feels like you're having an identity shift when you take on a new last name, because, like, you're not that person anymore. Like, I think about that. I'm like, once I take your last name, like, I'll never be Anita Rivera again. Like, that's just, you know what I mean? Like, the name goes away. So, I don't know. It's a very, like, I don't want to say it's hard, because, like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to make the sacrifice for that, because, like, that's why I'm marrying you. Like, it's not that. It's just, like, I think it's an identity thing. I think how she said it was the best. It's just, like, you feel like you're not that person anymore, which is, like, hard to grapple with, because you're like, it doesn't seem that way in the grand scheme of things, but, like, that's what it is. Like, you're not that person anymore after that day. So it's weird. Like, I don't know. It's just,
I think, well, oh, go ahead.
No, I don't know. It's like something that
I think it parallels with
dealing with.
I mean, I guess it all depends on, like, you know, how you see yourself afterwards. Like, I don't think, well, personally for me, like, I don't think I would want to be the same person, just because, like, during a wedding, like, it's two people who become one. So,
Right.
yeah, like, we were once individuals, but now, like, we move as one unit. So, I mean, I don't know. That's just how I look at it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, yeah. I mean, you won't be the same person you were before you got married.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, you're stepping into a whole different identity. You're going from being a fiance or a girlfriend to a wife. Like,
Yeah. It's different.
to women, like, that's the final stage of life almost. Like,
It's besides being
wife, like,
being
a mom. Yeah, wife is top tier. Like,
100%. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. I mean, you're stepping into another, like, I guess another entity.
Yeah.
Which makes it sound kind of crazy, but.
No, like it really is that. I don't know. Like, I just feel like that doesn't get talked about enough. Like, I know for women, it's something that we like glorify, that we're like, oh, I'm becoming a wife now. Like, I'm Mrs. Yada Yada, which, like, that sounds great. And I agree and I'm proud. But it's also like, there's still this other part of you that you are, what's the word? Like, not leaving behind, but like shedding. You know what I mean? Like, you're stepping into a new.
Right.
So, I don't know. And then, so I'm Hispanic, so it's very common in the Hispanic culture to hyphenate last names. So I definitely grappled with, like, do I hyphenate? Do I not hyphenate? But I had just kind of came to conclusion that I didn't want to hyphenate and just take it on. And that's just a personal thing and a personal preference. I think in marriage, there's a lot of sacrifices and compromises that have to be made. And that's, in my opinion, one of the very first ones is like, I'm agreeing to fully take your last name and become one with you. No hyphenate, no nothing. Like, old me is old me. This is new me, your wife. Like, you know what I mean? So it's different for everybody. Some people, especially in my culture, may totally not agree with that. And that's okay. Y'all are not marrying Devin. I am. And that's on that. But I don't know. I think it's just, it's something that I don't know if women speak about it enough, that like changing your last name is like a very much bigger deal than like is talked about. So yeah, that's something that I've been dealing with too, going through this process.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of roles, it brings me to my point of like, so I talked to Anita like maybe like a month ago or so, just about like stepping into how I felt as, I guess, becoming a husband, like right now being a fiance, like things that I feel like I need to change like internally, and practicing good habits. And yeah, I kind of just like talked to her about like what I feel like a role as a husband like looks like, what it should looks like. So it's pretty much telling her like the thing I was talking about, how like when things around the house just needs to be done, just like doing it.
Yeah.
I say that because like I'm thinking like long term too. So I'm thinking like when we start to have like little ones in the mix and kids and stuff in the mix, like I don't want to like have to like talk at my kid, like basically telling them to do things that
Right.
you know I'm not doing or I don't usually do. So I want to kind of like lead by example. So like, you know, if mom is going to the grocery store or going wherever, like getting out and pumping her gas, like, oh, we know dad does that, so yeah, like that's probably something I should do if I'm not with mom, like pumping her gas. And like just like little stuff like that, which I always pump her gas when we go out and stuff like that. But yeah, that, and just getting stuff done, just being more, I guess, aware and more like present.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I try not to have so many distractions or get easily distracted by things, and just being like in the moment,
Here.
being aware and just being here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's one. And it was another one. I can't remember what it was now. As far as leading, like, not saying that I would lead this woman to the depths of hell or anything like that, but Like,
Wait, what?
no, I'm just saying, like, in leading, like, having some form of direction while I'm leading.
I got
Not
you.
just, like, making decisions as you ask me or make decisions, like, on the spot, but already kind of, like, have things premeditated.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I guess just being sharp.
Yeah.
You know, more sharp than I am now. Just kind of being, like, on, like, crossing my T's and dotting my I's and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, honestly, and it's not to say that I don't do a lot of those things now. It's just I know those are things about myself that I need to improve, especially because I'm going to be a husband, so I'm going to be, pretty much leading a pack or leading my own family. You know what I mean? So I've watched my father do it. I've watched my grandparents and stuff do it. So it's like now that it's my turn, I think I'm able to grasp like little things I've learned along the way and mix it with the things that I've developed as an individual. That's more of like a Devin thing than more of like a Wansley thing or whatever, or like a Simmons thing. Like it's a Devin thing. Like it's just how this is what he does. It's just what I do, type thing. So just having that, brushing up on that stuff, and more importantly, having that conversation with her.
Yeah.
Just so she knows where I am, like mentally, because just like we can't read their minds, they can't read ours. As much as they like to pretend like they can. They can. Like, so just being open with her and telling her, like, hey, as a husband, I feel like this is how I should conduct myself in this type of situation. I need to brush up on this and, sharpen up on this type stuff. But
yeah.
Ugh,
I love that. Also, I'm tearing because I'm yawning, not because that moved me to tears.
Lies.
I'm really not, but I could totally see where that would be the case. But no, he, like he said, about like a month ago, he brought that to my attention, and it like made me think too. I was like I think, and we've talked about this on another episode, that like sometimes people just get married for the heck of it and think that marriage is just like something to play with. But like, as for me and Devin, like that is not, like we've made it very clear, like we ain't no divorce up in here. Yeah, like this is very much like this is a forever thing. Like, so with that comes like a sense of like taking this serious, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when he brought that to my attention, I had to think about it too. It was like, well, he thinks he needs to conduct himself in a certain way as a husband. Like, how do I feel about that as like a wife? Like, where do I really need to play my role here and stuff like that? And what are things that I lack in and stuff like that? I think one of them, I won't go into detail too much just because that's our personal business. But I think you just going through something and you were debating on whether you wanted to like tell me or not tell me, and like how would I perceive you if you told me this information, yada yada yada. And I think just like, one, I still appreciate you for coming to me and opening up and being honest with me about where things are right now, but also two is like me as a girlfriend, fiance, soon to be wife, partner, like the way that the support needs to be here for each other is like on 10, especially through this season of our life where like we got a lot of shit going on. Like I think that was one thing that I thought of as like, how could I really like step into wife role? It's just like really being there for you, like as some sort of stability, but also like emotionally, and you know what I mean? Like, so he talks about leading and stuff like that. I think being a support and being a rock is just as strong as you leading us. Like we've talked about this before, like there's a head and there's a neck, right? Like where do I play my role as a neck is one, I know people hate this word, but being submissive to, in a sense that like I trust you, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not waiting on you hand and foot, but like I trust you to lead, you know what I mean? But also too is like support. Like
Yeah.
you can't just be out here with like no support at home. So just the fact that you feel like you trust me to like come to me and have hard conversations and deliver hard information to me, to be like, okay, what is she going to do with this information? Is she going to look at me weird with this information? Is like, I think I've been doing a good job, and like it's something that I wasn't really conscious about before, but like something that I'm really hyper aware of now is like, how can I be that support
Yeah.
for you? Is like, but like at all times, to where like you never feel like you have to like hide information from me or anything. Like you just feel like you can come to me with whatever the situation is. So obviously I've built a foundation for that, but like
Yeah.
just going into wife mode, like I'm extra on 10 about like I just really need to like be a support rock for you in all times, good times, bad times, like
Yeah.
whatever. So that was just kind of one example. There's a ton of ways that I've been like, what does this new wife role mean to me, and
Yeah.
what do I think we're both learning. We're still early in the stages, but it is something good to be mindful of. I think it prepares us to be really good life partners for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with a lot of the stuff that we've been incorporating, I don't know. Like, I just want to build a healthy foundation
Yeah.
for our marriage while we're engaged. That way, like, the saying goes of like, so if you stay ready, you ain't never got to get ready. Like, that's what type of time I'm trying to be on. So it's like,
Yeah.
like another thing a good habit that we're working on is like praying at night, like
Yeah.
praying before bed, like together. You know what I mean? Just because I don't know, like I feel like that builds a strong foundation. I
Yeah.
feel like it's a healthy habit to have, and of course, we believe like, you can't. I don't believe there's a good marriage without having God in it. That's just me.
100%.
So definitely like praying before bed and stuff like that, and like saying grace. So
Yeah.
I think those are good, healthy practices. Those are things that I would want my children to do
Right.
as well. So
Same.
once again, just kind of like leading by example and like doing those things. So it's not like, oh, well, make sure you say your grace and like I just dig straight into my food. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be that parent. Like, oh, make sure you're saying your prayers tonight, and I don't pray. Like, I'd never do that. So
Yeah.
just being able to like practice what I preach and stuff though.
Yeah. I really like this season that we're stepping into. I think, I don't know, in my eyes, I know we're only going to ever be engaged once, so we're supposed to enjoy it. And I think we are going to have times that we get to celebrate and enjoy. But like, to me, building the foundation for a strong marriage is more important. So if that means us having to have difficult conversations with each other, or us having to, sometimes it feels like work more than it feels like fun, like, to me, it's worth it for like a solid marriage going forward. We can have fun whenever. Like,
Yeah.
even like our vlog that we just did last week, like that was a fun day that we got to spend together that didn't involve wedding planning
Right.
and podcast things. Yes, we took the camera with us, but like we still got
That was
to,
free
like,
content. Like, it just made sense.
it just, like we just had a fun day. We would have vlogged it on our phones had it not been on the camera. So like, there's still times for like fun and pleasure and things like that, but like I think you said it best, like you just want to build a strong foundation, and I 100% believe that that's what we're doing, and like the mindset that we're in, and like conversations like this that we're
Yeah.
having with each other and stuff like that. Like, this is like essential and crucial to like building that foundation. So I think we're doing good.
Ooh, I did want to ask you something about like the wedding party.
Okay.
So is it, well, I don't know how I want to word this. Like, are you kind of like, I don't know, are you paying like close attention to how like I don't know, like your side of the wedding party is like conducting things, like things they're considering, the cooperation and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
are you like really like looking at that stuff, or is it just kind of like, I'm just kind of like letting them do their thing?
So as a type A person, I very strategically picked my wedding party. Like, but not to say that I'm like, oh, well, she's good at this. Oh, she's good at this. These are genuinely like my best friends here. But like, I honestly just think I did a good job like picking friends. Like, just to toot my own horn here, because each of them really are like solid. Like, each of them have their own strength that they can bring to the wedding party, other than the fact that they're just like good ass friends in general to me. So I wouldn't say that I'm like looking closely at what they're doing. If anything, like, I'm pleasantly surprised. Like, I knew I had a good group, but seeing them like come together, especially with this like engagement party thing going on, and like how they're conducting things and handling things with such like poise and like organization, like, it just makes me proud, because I'm like, y'all are a representation of me, and y'all are like really killing it here. And like, on top of that, they're just like very much invested in me being stress free and like happy and stuff like that. And like, that's just what good friends do. Like,
Right.
so I'm like I said earlier, like, I'm very much always wanting to be on top of things. So to be able to trust them and know that they're doing a good job without me having to like say anything or tell them what to do is like literally my entire dream come true. Like, so I can't brag on them enough. Like, they're literally like, they're top tier. So no, I'm not really looking and picking out things that they're doing. I'm just happy that this is the group that I ended up being. Like, a couple of these girls I wasn't even friends with like 3 years ago. So like, it just makes my heart warm that like, it doesn't matter what time in life you meet people. Like, if they're really like there for you and love you, like, they're gonna show up and like come through for you. So yeah. What about you? How much time are we at with this?
It says, what, 57?
Ooh, okay. No hookup today, y'all. We're about to go overtime. But go ahead.
Put it this way, I don't want to. Like, and it's not me like questioning like my friendship with my friends, because that's the game. Those are my guys. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it can get ugly behind them. Like, for sure. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say, like, I'm looking at the willpower. I'll say that. Like, I'm looking at their will to like, are you, like, as a friend, or how I consider like a lot of my friends like my brother. So like, if I consider you like family, like my brother or whatever, the expectation is that you'll come through.
Yeah.
For whatever it is, no matter how ridiculous, or if you don't feel like it, whatever it is, you'll do whatever it is in your will to make me look good this day.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Yeah.
And I would do it for my friends, and they all know that. They all know that. But no, like, I honestly, if I'm just gonna be 100% transparent, I am looking at willpower. Like,
Yeah.
just like, what are they willing to do for me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of these guys I've known 10 plus years, like a very long time. So
I think it's different for men and women, because girls, like, I think girls understand it, because like, some girls even grow up wanting to like be a wife. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, that's not me. I want to be his wife, but like, I didn't grow up like that. But like, I think girls just get it, that like, they want to shower the bride, they want to make things easier on the bride. Like, so it's about friendship, but it's also just like, we're smart. we get it. We know what to do. Like, the organization kicks in, the let's plan, the coordination. Like, women just have it. We just do. Like, that's just how it is. So I think it's different for men. Like, I think it's understandable for you to look at the willpower because, like, no offense, like, they haven't had to do something like this for you before. Like, this is really testing, like, how are you going to come through for me on literally the most important day of my life? Like,
I'm asking you to hold me down for this
one day.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I think it's a little bit more pressure on, like, the guys because, like, I don't know. I feel like guys don't really show each other affection like that all the time. Like, they don't. I'm not saying they don't show up for their friends, but, like, there's a different type of way that, like, women come through and show love to their girlfriends than, like, guys do to their guys. So, like, I get it, and I understand why you would look at it that way too, because it is like that. Like, these are the people that we're trusting to show us love and shower us, and, like, that we're trusting with our day to help us make things go smooth. So, like, yeah, it's a lot of pressure on them, but grateful for all of y'all nonetheless. But
hey, shout out to the gang, man.
Shout out to the gang.
This wasn't an attack on you guys. I just want to say, like, this isn't me trying to be messy or.
No, I think it's just.
Something that came across my mind.
Yeah, I think it's just good for them to know where your head's at with things, and I think that's good. What are we at? Because I have one more point, but I don't know if we're gonna have time to make it. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see what the time is. What's it say?
61.
Oof. Okay. Very last point. I'll try to make it short. To me, the weirdest thing, and I'll wrap it up on this point, and maybe you have opinions too, but, like, the weirdest thing is thinking that, like, some of the people that you were friends with, like, even last year or, like, the year before, like, maybe you thought were like, oh, like, this person's gonna be at my wedding, like, we're so close, and, like, it's so weird how time changes relationships with people and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing, like, and I didn't really realize it until, like, we were making our lists and stuff like that, but, like, just the people that are on the list are not people that I thought would have been on the list, and, like, there's people missing from the list that I thought would be on the list and stuff like that. Like, weddings really bring out that type of, like, who's really close with me, who's not really close with me. Like, it's weird. Like, it makes you take a whole assessment of, like, all of your relationships with separate people. Like, it's really strange. So that's something that I'm, like, kind of grappling with too, is, like, oof, like, I thought certain people were going to be in my life at this point, and they're not, and vice versa. Like, people are bridesmaids right now that I didn't even know, like, a couple years ago. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. I don't know if you felt the same, like, making your side of the list, but it's interesting. So, okay, your silence is saying that you don't have any thoughts. Maybe you didn't think it
something
was
just
weird.
caught me off guard too. So much going on. So
okay. All right, well, our camera is about to die, so we are calling it good on this episode. This was a very long one.
We apologize in advance.
Well, I don't apologize. Because
oh, yeah, so because apparently...
I make no apologies because, one, this was a really good conversation. I feel like somebody could take somebody from this.
Yeah.
If you stopped listening halfway through because you got bored, that's totally okay. If you made it all the way to the end, you're a real one, and we love you.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Tell all your friends about this lovely podcast that we host every Wednesday night.
The most wholesome podcast in the world.
Yeah. Come on, man. Alrighty, y'all. That is all for tonight. We will see y'all next Wednesday.
All right, guys.
Bye.